Mr. Real Nightmares, Episode 19. One night I was supposed to meet my friend James at a pizzeria called Freddy Fazbear's or something like that. I had never heard of it before, but he said it was good, so I agreed to go. Plus, I loved arcade games, and James promised that it had some of the best in town. I arrived at the pizzeria a little early, so I stood outside and waited for James to get there. After about 15 minutes, he still hadn't shown up. I texted him to see how long it would be, but got no response. I didn't want to just stand around waiting for. I did to head inside and play some games. I bought some tokens and went over to the arcade. James was right. The place did have some cool stuff. I picked a game facing the front so that I could see. When James walked in, I wasn't playing for very long when I noticed the real creepy guy across the room. He was extremely tall and slender, wearing a suit, which I thought was strange for pizzeria. He looked like the Slender Man, and what was worse is that it looked like the man was staring at me. He had this really creepy smile on his face, and I could swear he was looking right at me. He was standing pretty far away though, so I thought I might be imagining things, but the longer I stayed at the game, the more it seemed like the guy was watching me, and he never lost that weird smile. I assumed he must have some kid near me that he was actually watching, so I just moved to another arcade machine to get away from him. When I got there, I checked to see if the guy was still watching me, and I was disturbed to find out he was. He completely turned around, faced my direction, and was still staring at me. I was pretty freaked out, but I tried to ignore him and play the game. I didn't want to seem scared, but it was hard not to look a little shaken. No matter what I did, the man continued to stare at me while smiling. I relocated to another machine, but when I looked up, the man was still staring at me. He had even moved to get a better view. I texted James to hurry the hell up and then moved to another machine again. I just wanted to get away from the man, but no matter where I went, I kept getting stared by him. I didn't know if he was an employee, a customer, or someone's dad, but he was creepy as hell. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to complain, but the man was standing so far away from me. It wasn't like he was harassing me or taking pictures or something. I had no choice but to go along with it and get stared at. I wanted to leave, but I didn't want to abandon James. He was so late though. I had no idea where he was. I felt extremely uncomfortable and I wanted to take a piss so badly because I was petrified of the man, but I forced myself to hold it in because I was sure the man would have followed me into the bathroom. I texted James again. "Hey, where the hell are you?" I played for a bit longer, but I was not enjoying the game whatsoever. I could feel the man's eyes on me. Anytime I turned to look at him, he had the exact same expression, the same creepy smile. I didn't know what you wanted with me. Maybe you was just trying to freak me out, or maybe it was something worse. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I texted James that I was leaving and started walking toward the door. I looked and wasn't following me, and he wasn't there. Somehow not seeing him was even creepier. I spun all around trying to find him, but he was gone. I felt somewhat relieved and started to leave again. Then out of nowhere, the man appeared from arcade machine and charged at me. I tried to run, but he was too quick. He grabbed me by the shoulders and started yelling at me with his face an inch away from mine. "Stop looking at me." Okay. I broke free from his grasp and ran out of the building. I ran as fast as I possibly could, but then I was grabbed from behind by giant hand. I was being carried and dragged while the man's giant hand suffocated my face. He then tied my hands behind my back and gagged me with something. Then he threw me in the back of something. I couldn't. What was happening? I started crying and trying to scream for help through my gag, but but it was no use. The van pulled away with me inside it. As I tried to sit up, I noticed that there were 4 other people in the truck with me, them tied up as well. Then I saw that one of them was James. It finally hit me that we were all. The sight of my friend in there with me made me even more horrified. I started panicking and screaming even louder. The others joined me, all of us hoping that maybe, just maybe, someone would hear us. This story was inspired by William Afton, also known as the Purple Guy, from the 5 Nights at Freddy's Friend. Storyline is that Afghan is a serial killer responsible for the murder, Drool So for about a decade, and happens to be the founder of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Afton had allegedly adopted a backroom dressed in a rabbit costume. He would then hide electronic costume. Police arrested after, but he was like a doodle, is never being found. This caused the spirits of the dead to possess the animatronics. However, the dark twist behind this is that it ties to a real-life conspiracy regarding Chuck E. Cheese restaurant, where 5 individuals allegedly went missing. We've made 2 videos regarding this already, so please be sure to check them out. But this is all just speculation. Cleaning company. We would get contracted to clean different restaurants, malls, or whatever business has hired us. We'd usually end up working every night and sleeping through the day. It wasn't year of a great career, but it paid the bills. One month we were hired to clean at a place called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It was just a month contract, nothing too abnormal. It was once again a night shift job, so we were going around closing time, be there for most of the night. When we would first get there, some people would still be in the arcade, but they would slowly filter out as it closed until the place was empty. Adam and I would have to clean the arcade machines, the restaurant area, and bathroom. Plus, you take out all the trash. The worst part, though, was that we had to clean the animatronics too. They had a bunch of them up on the stage, and we'd have to polish them up. They honestly really creeped me out. I wasn't really sure why, but I found them scary as hell. I didn't like being, especially at night. Their faces seemed to glow in the dim lighting. It was like they were once alive, but now their corpses were on display. Cleaning them was easily my least favorite part of the job luckily had, so I would take care of the trash, restaurant area, and arcade while I and the animatronics. He knew I was scared of them, and he often make fun of me for it, but didn't have to. Was also one of the harder jobs that we worked. The whole place was a mess and the guests obviously did not care about trashing the place. We would always have to stay really late to get everything done. The longer we were there, the more I started to notice weird things. I swore that the animatronics moved sometimes when I wasn't looking. It was like they were possessed. The Freddy Fazbear and animatronic creeped me out the most. There were several times when I noticed it was looking at me the other direction a minute ago, and the animatronics were always unplugged immediately. After closing, it was all pretty freaky, but nothing ever really happened. That is until one night, life would be changed forever.